many meetings would be held in your team if someone did not orchestrate it? About 1.5 weeks ago, I had a talk with one of my friends from Estonia, originally from Finland, our ambassador, Mikko Jara. And we talked about what he'd been learning over the past year. And then he said, you know, Hilda, I think that one of my greatest epiphanies has been that there is a big difference between being someone's coach and someone's mentor. Think about that for a second. A mentor is someone that will give you their advice. A coach is someone that will train you to improve. That's a big difference. So a mentor won't necessarily follow up on you and check that you actually followed his or her advices. A coach, on the other hand, will probably do his or her best to check that you did what you said you would do, course correct, and then have you accountable to finish. I think this is one of the areas in our business that is sometimes creating a little bit of a frustration because it's so easy to confuse the two. Now you get a new partner started, you have a brilliant startup meeting, at least you think. You're training them on how to book meetings. And then for some reason, they don't. Or they don't book as many meetings as you kind of planned out that they should do. Now, obviously, a lot of you would then book another restart meeting, right? But I see a lot of people that conclude with the following conclusion. He or she didn't follow my advices. I guess they're not hungry enough. Dude, you didn't train them. And you can't expect that someone will do what you just said they would do without training them. So the problem here, my friends, is that we don't build a prosperous, thriving team by just giving great advices. We have to follow through. We have to check and adjust, continue to help them develop that competence, and over time, they will break through and they will create that same duplication in their team. I usually say that a diamond is not created by coincidence. It's just a matter of 50 or more restart meetings. About 3 months ago, I was finding myself in the middle of a beautiful 5-star resort in Bali, together with 468 wonderful friends, Enzino partners. And we were enjoying a very nice Indonesian dinner. And by my table was a Latvian couple. And they were there for the first time, super excited, enthusiastic about what is going to, everything that was happening. They were eager to learn. They were hungry like crazy, and they had lots of questions. And we talked about a lot of different things. Like they were running a very successful traditional company or business on their own, on the side of doing Enzino, but their real goal was that they wanted to build it full time. And their plan was that they wanted to go from platinum to diamond, or actually from platinum to director by the end of the year. And after talking about different subjects, the guy suddenly turns to me and he asks, so what would be your advice in terms of how many hours we need to invest to make that happen? And I said, at least 30 hours a week. So he thought about that for a second and he turned to me and he said, okay, so 15 hours invested by my wife and 15 hours by me. And I'm saying, no, it doesn't really work like that. 30 hours from you, 30 hours from your wife. Now let me explain. Obviously, I don't believe that like one size fits all. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't really tell if that couple will achieve director by investing 5 hours a week, 15 hours a week, 30 hours a week, or 50 hours a week, right? However, what I do know is that you need to get the speed up. You need to orchestrate enough of meetings in your calendar so that you get the duplication going. And if you invest 15 hours a week and you expect to achieve extraordinary, amazing results in a quite short period of time, well, the problem is that, first and foremost, you will most likely only, by investing those 15 hours, have maybe 8, 10 meetings a week. And by only having 8, 10 meetings a week, you don't create that fast duplication where a lot of people in your team start to earn money. So that's the first problem. The duplication don't go as fast as you want. The second problem is that you use quite a long time to be really sharp in your message. It's like reading a book. Like reading 10 pages a week is very different than reading 10 pages a day. Problem number one is that when you pick up the book the next week, you've forgotten what you read about last week, right? So you have to start all over. And problem number two is that you will have read one book a year instead of 12 books a year. You see it? So you need then the activity up to a certain tempo to create big results. Now, I'm a runner. I love to run. I love to be out in the nature and feel the wind in my hair and breathe in, the fresh air. And I've been running my whole life, at least since I was like a teenager. And on the better season, or on the worst seasons, I would say, I've maybe like once or twice every month. But on the better ones, maybe up to every single day. And over a few times, I've experienced something very strange, very interesting. And that is that it's usually happening towards the end of a longer run, or what I define as a longer run would be like 12 kilometers, 15 kilometers, or something like that. But suddenly, I just feel that I'm in the zone. I just feel like I'm flying, that I can take quantum leaps. I feel like I can run forever. I remember the first time it happened. I was about 15 years of age, and I was running together with my dad, that was a pretty good runner back then. And it was just an amazing experience for both him and for me. I was like a kangaroo taking these quantum leaps. He's still talking about it. Now, the big question is, did it happen by coincidence? Obviously not. It happened when we had been running every single day over a whole summer. About 2.5 years ago, I set a goal for myself, and that was that I wanted to run 5 kilometers in less than 20 minutes. And or the real goal was actually that I wanted to beat my husband's time and my brother-in-law. Just a little internal competition in the family. And I think my husband was at 19:59, and my brother-in-law was a little better, 57 or something like that. So when I made it happen, obviously I was very proud when I made it happen. 19:51, I believe the time was. It did not happen by coincidence. It happened after I had been running diligently, training for it over a 4+ month period of time, building the endurance, building the strength. If I look at my own career, and if I look at Orion's career, I have 19 years of experience within direct sales. Orion, I think 25 plus or something. He's getting old. We've built our business plain and simple with investing the hours. That's been our secret. Nothing more, nothing less. We love what we do. Since we started Senzino, we've built it by design, strategic planning, and efficient slide edge habits, right? But a little secret to it all has also been that every single year, we've usually had a season where we've gone really all in. Sometimes it's been 2 seasons. But at least, one season, one 90-day run where we went really, really, really all in. For many years, we did it over the summer. And our calculation was simple, that a lot of people, they are on a holiday during the summer, so the volume will automatically go a little down. So if we then up our game over the summer, that would mean that we would affect more growth in the company overall, more leaders will achieve growth, and we would achieve much better results on the annual report. So if I look at many of our leaders, obviously I have to say that they've done it by investing the hours. The reason why the leaders that you saw on stage here as crowns and royal crowns and black crowns and all of the ambassadors and above are where they are today is because they've invested the hours. But, I can also probably tell for each and every one that most of them has also gone really, really, really all in over specific seasons. No matter if I'm talking about Finn Olav, or Øyvind, or Daniel, or Kerstin and Tim, or Katarina. If I'm talking about Manu, or Mikko, or Mika, or Mimmo, or Cash, or Margus, or Peter, Ib, Kim, Attila, or Ria, Christopher. I can name drop so many different names. Victor, Augulus. They've done it because they've gone all in over specific seasons. So, because I know for a fact that this works so well, to really go full out, go all in over a specific amount of time, over the last 1.5 to 2 years, I've been leading different groups to help people through this season. So today I just want to take, oh gosh, the time is flying here. I just want to take a few moments to run through specifically how to do these groups. And I'm mainly going to talk to you in this room that already have a team, that are already at the specific level. At the same time, if you're brand new, you also, I definitely hope that you will be inspired to start a 90-day run. But before that, let's take a look at some testimonials, some people that have been part of these groups.
I have done quite a many 90 days run of my career, but never before it has been led so systematically. And a few of those people after the run, they really start taking some responsibility and they have become a leader, and I believe that they will hit a quite big levels on the next few months. And of course we start to measuring the numbers and continuing measuring the numbers, and that has really changed the course of few of those teams. I really encourage you, take the 90 days run, and it will be the hardest thing ever, but it will be totally worth it.
Beginning of December, I started my 90-day run. I struggled a lot at first. Very few joined, but the motivation from the group kept me going. So, at my 749th conversation, it led to the start of an amazing team going in Australia. We now have our first executive there, and I'm confident it will develop into tens of thousands of people in balance.
The easiest way to build an organization with network marketing is to do it fast, to have lots of things happening in your team. And with those groups that Hilde was starting together with me and my group, we actually qualified 3 diamonds and 1 director. I had the privilege of becoming a crown in Cincino, and my customer base was raising with 1,000 customers. So I really encourage you all to take a part of this program and try the 90-day groups, because this is really a game changer for all of us. Thank you very much.
Hi Hilde, Rolf here. As you know, I contacted you in the beginning of March. We wanted to kick off a 90-day challenge. We were 11 people from Sweden and Norway, and everyone had different goals during these 90 days. It was personal customers, it was team number, and it was rank achievements. And the result has been really astonishing. You know, everyone have reached at least one of the goals, most of them 2 or even more goals. For me personally, it ended up with me hitting Black Crown and more than 8,000 customers in balance. So I'm really happy about it. But we also had people in that group of 11 people that hit Crown, Director, Diamond, several of them, T750, Executive, a lot of different results, Pro Team. So with that said, I'm really happy that we had you as our guide during these 90 days and that you had continuous follow-ups and teaching with us. And today the group has started to have more than 6 other 90-day groups. So thank you, Hilde.
So not only did several people, including myself, achieve new titles in the 90-day run, but we also achieved something way more important. We actually started regarding Zinzino way more like a business and way less like a hobby. We started working deliberately. We started to working structured in a completely different way than before. So I highly can recommend a 90-day run to achieve new titles and new goals for you and your team.
Give them a hand. I've seen people, go from silver to director. I've seen people go from executive to diamond, from director to Royal Crown. I've seen people go from 10 customers to overpassing top team. I've seen people going from Royal Crown to Black Crown. I can mention so many different results that we've gotten from a structured way of following up. And I totally do believe that in 90 days, if you really are serious about it, you can go from having invisible results to really creating amazing, great results. You can go from great results to achieve extraordinary results. So now I'm just going to run through a few practical things that is important to be aware of when you are doing it or when you're hosting it. Now, the first thing you want to make sure of is that if you are serious about going all in over a 90-day period of time, you need to clean your table, you need to have a specific focus, a specific goal, and then you need to be willing to really increase the hours invested in your business. Now, I do believe that you should actually consider doubling your amount of activity, doubling your amount of hours. And I'm not talking about going from 5 hours to 10 hours, right? I'm talking about going from 15 hours to 30 hours or 40 hours if you're doing this part-time, or going from 40 hours to 80 hours or 50 hours to 100 hours. Then you're going to see breakthrough results. Now, obviously, I've seen people create okay results by going from 5 to 10 hours a week as well. But you can't achieve amazing, extraordinary results over a short period of time if that's what you're willing to put in. So if I can get the first slide here, that double your effort. So that was with the first one. The second thing that is important to be aware of is that a team meeting is different than a 90-day group. Now, it's smart to host team meetings for your team, and that's something that I encourage you to do every single week, whether you're gathering people in your own living room or you're doing it over Zoom, and you go through inspiration, education, people share stories, and so forth. But a 90-day group should be different. A 90-day group should be where people are really seriously committed to do the business, and that you have then you've gotten okay from them to push them a little, to kick them a little in a positive way. I would also say that to have too many people part of groups like this in one group is not working so well. So my experience is that 6 to 9 people are the absolute best number of people. And I've been hosting it so that either I handpick the people myself or that I'm running it through a leader that has handpicked certain people from their team that are really committed to put in an extra effort. And the reason, I can also just jump back on that, the reason why I don't recommend too many more people in the group is that the most important part of the meeting is the sharing part. It's not that you just are going to give great advices. It's the sharing part, the dialogue that every single one is involved. The third thing, you need to choose a set time once a week. Every single one has a busy calendar. And if you're really all in here, you know, there's going to be so much going on in the calendar all the time. So if you haven't prepared a set time, it's just going to be confusion. They won't manage to prioritize it. And then you don't want to keep it too long. 20 minutes, 30 minutes maximum. You want to keep it short, efficient, on time, and let people move on. I would also encourage you to put people in a messenger group. This way, people can be an inspiration to each other, as well as it's also quite easy for you to share information in the group. And then the structure of the meeting, I would say, is quite important. The way I've been hosting it is that, especially if I'm leading it through a leader, the leader will start the meeting. And this, I've hosted it over Zoom, so I use the online tools here. So the leader will start, share maybe a story or two, make a point. Then I will take over. I will talk a little bit about what's going to happen or what we're going to educate about. Then I will give the word over to each person so that each person will share how did their last week go? What's their goal for the next week? What's their activity goal for the next week? And then I will jump back and I will do the teaching, 5-10 minutes, and have a call for action. There is a big difference, like I talked about in the beginning, between being a coach and a mentor. And one thing that you have to be aware of here is that if you're hosting several groups, you can't necessarily expect the group to produce extraordinary good results if there is not a natural leader in the group. So if you don't have someone that is working strategically as the coach, following people up every single day for it to work, you have to jump in and be their coach. Very often I see that people, they achieve so great results, you know, and they become so excited about it, and then they immediately, after finishing their run, they want to go all in again. And I would say it's not working so well. Sometimes I see that, well, they try to change a little bit around on the members of the group. Maybe they exclude some, bring in some. But what usually happens then is that it becomes more like a team meeting instead of an all-in 90-day run. And just as a side note here, if you have really gone all in over a specific amount of time, I can tell you that you won't necessarily feel like going so much all in over the next 90 days. You will do it the way you should do it, by effective slide edge habits, right? So you will do the business as it should work, but not like upping and doubling the amount of effort. Are you getting this? The first call, because I usually do it over 15 weeks. The first call will be a preparation call. And on the preparation call, I usually run through what is important to think about during the upcoming weeks. We run through how to set efficient goals. So you want to do that with your team. And just talking about that for just a slight second, I had a conversation with Henry and Helena here. I think it was like a week ago. And they had gotten really much inspiration. They're in a 90-day run now, and they've gotten a really good inspiration from a book called The 10X Rule. And I like to read. I like to have new knowledge, you know, so I automatically picked it up from Audible. And what the author really says is that the big problem for most people is that they are aiming too low. So you want to aim 10 times higher. Because if you aim 10 times higher, you will automatically also produce a lot more results. Because you get the hunger, you get the drive. Did you feel Attila standing on stage here yesterday? The reason he's aiming higher. He's hungry. It's the same with Ria. It's the same with many of our leaders that is growing like crazy. So you have to aim higher. Secondly, The biggest problem is that people are looking for shortcuts. The minimum that they need to do. Successful people don't go for minimum. So you need to bring in 10 times more effort in what you do. So you have to be able, you have to look at the plan and see, okay, how can I do 10 times more? And I think that's important to communicate when you're talking about the goals. Then you want to make a strategic plan. You want to talk about how to do that. You want to develop the inner circle or talk about choose your 2 to 5 top key people that you want to help in your team during this process. And then you need a plan of action. And the plan of action should really be involving, first and foremost, personal activity. No matter which rank you're at, you want to have personal activity. The 6 pillars of Zinzino, the 2 first, bring in personal customers, bring in personal partners. Now I'm starting to talk fast because I have a little bit left. So you want to be the leader, right? Leading the way. Yes, applaud for that. That's fine. You also want to be the connector. You want to connect your downline with your upline. You want to make sure that people get through the hurdles along the way. So immediately when they're facing that, they're hitting their face into the wall, you want to give them the coaching, and if you need someone else's voice to bring them over the hurdle, you want to involve your upline right away. And then, as number 3, it's important to work according to the infrastructure. Build your numbers to the business presentations, to the BPSs, and to the events. Every single month, I encourage my people, the ones that I'm working the closest with, to set goals on 4 specific areas. How many personal customers are you going to bring in? How many personal partners are you going to bring in? What's going to be your rank this month, or the credits that you bring in? And what's going to be your T number? And then I say, choose your most important goal. Because this is the goal that you want to have a strategic plan to achieve. So the first real call after the preparation call is the call where we talk about the expectancy, the rules. And there's really 3 things that I talk about here. Number 1, I talk about more going into the detail of the plan. And secondly, I say that for your business to grow, you have to grow. So absolutely no option to not do at least 1 hour of personal development every single day. And then as number 3, you need to know what to do each day. So you need to know before you go to bed this evening what's going to be your 6 most important things that you need to do tomorrow to take action on that will bring your business up and running. I remember last summer, Tore Vanvik Mo, he called me and he said, Hilda, I really want to get from crown to royal crown. What can we do? And we talked about that, and we decided on doing a 90-day run. And he did actually achieve royal crown. Give him a hand. His team also got very good results. But I remember in the beginning, we had some talks about how he could be more efficient. Tore is one of the guys that is extraordinarily eager to learn, always has a lot of questions. And he says, how can I be better? How can I improve? How can I grow? And then I ask him, so what's on your 6-point list today? And he says, well, I have this meeting, and then I have that meeting, and then I'm going to organize this, and I have the meeting with you. We have the coaching now, so that's on my list. And I'm saying, why on earth am I on that list? Like, you don't need to remind me about showing up. If we've agreed on a time, I'm going to be there. Why am I on that list? What's going to be on your list is the different things that is not yet in your calendar. So when you make the 6-point list, that's the list of different things that will create more activity in your calendar. Are you getting something from this? So the 6-point list is crucial every single day. You prioritize it according to importance. The second talk The second week, we will talk about how you build your story. This is kind of like your 90-second pitch, or actually, for me, I've taught it like a 2 to 3 minute pitch, so I probably need to improve it after hearing Nicholas Boothman now. But there's basically 4 questions that I believe is important for you to be able to answer. What are you currently doing, or what did you do in the past, if you're not full-time with Zinzino yet? Number 2, what change did you look for, if you're full-time, or what change are you currently looking for? Number 3, do you have a product testimonial? And number 4, where are you going with Zinzino? If you can answer these 4 questions, and you can write your script down and make sure that it's precise so that you have an exact opening on every single meeting that you're in, you're going to get your prospects to lean forward, listen more carefully in, and want to have more of what you're bringing to the table. Number 3, we talk about the contact list. How do you develop your name list? How do you create referrals? We talk about duplicating fast starts and having efficient get-started meetings. We talk about how to orchestrate enough activity in your team, and also how to orchestrate your calendar and make sure that at least 50% of everything that you do is according to the high productive activities. Short presentations, customer meetings, follow-ups, bringing people to the events and the business presentations, making sure to grow your numbers. Then we talk about following up on your prospects, following up on your partners, how to do that in an efficient way. We talk about how to set activity goals on the 6 pillars, how to create urgency and create a culture and a duplication that really starts moving when there is campaigns happening. We go through effective ways of communication. Instead of just talking about action, 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 you have to know what people's need. You want to talk to their why. Motivation, education, motivation, action. So we go through that. We talk about the 5-minute conversation that you can literally have hundreds of meetings with your team or with certain partners in your team, and they can continue to do the same thing over and over again without becoming better. So you have to be that coach that are instructing them to become a little bit better every single time, and that is happening 5 minutes after each meeting. What did you do well? How can you improve? And then we talk about how to build your numbers to business presentations, business planning sessions, and events. We talk about the importance of being a visionary. Proverbs 18:21, I think it is. The tongue has the power over life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So you want to cast that vision. You want to be that person that are talking about the future, bringing people together, having the leadership influence in their life. And then we talk about the importance of not just being a dictator's leader, but being an inspirational leader. There is a huge difference between leader power and leader inspiration. And we are running a volunteer organization, guys. So you can't use dictatorship to get this to work. You have to be the inspirator that are lifting people up, that are seeing their potential, that are being encouraged to grow their strengths and to develop their weaknesses. That is what bringing the best out of your team. And then we talk about the summary, week 14. What did you learn? What will you continue to implement? And how should things move on? So when you look at this list, for a lot of you, some of it is just absolutely obvious, you know. You immediately are thinking to yourself, I can teach about all of these things. That's super. And most of the leaders in this room, you have so much competence. It's just that you need to structure it and teach it and coach it to your team, right? And for some of you, maybe some of these points are totally new. You don't really know what to do with it. Now, this is not an exact blueprint. You can change around on it. Sometimes you may exchange it with another topic. But what I'm 100% certain about that actually is a blueprint, if you're going to get this to work, is that the specific structure of the meeting, where each and every one on the group are given the chance to share. Now, in sales, we say that what I say, my customer can have objections towards, but what they say is right. It's the same when we work with our team. So if you can get your team to say out loud, speak out loud their goals, their activity goals, that's automatically going to upper the game, increase the commitment, and 9 out of 10, I can tell you, will for sure feel more responsible to actually get it done. So I'm so confident, my friends, that we're going to see absolutely breakthrough results coming out from this weekend. Now, for some of you, you're going to go for a 90-day run already now. For some of you, maybe you're going to do the 90-day run from August. For some of you, maybe it's during the fall. You choose for you. But I would so much encourage you to set the time when you're doing it, pick your goal, and really get so loud about taking things to a whole nother level and go all